Every great enterprise starts with a journey. Some of them built companies, many of them built industries, but the rarest of them built legacies. Today, let's hear a great mind who has navigated such a legacy. Mr. Ramesh Ramakrishnan and Transworld is the guest for the day at Beyond Stories. Hello, sir. I gave an intro about you, but before asking anything else, there is something that I would like to ask. When I visited your office for the first time, there are a few things that I understood from the setup of the office, because it was not like walking into any shipping office or any shipping company's office or any corporate company. So what I saw was right at the landing of the staircase, you have a Bhagavad Gita placed on a pedestal, and a lot of traditional elements were added into the office. I mean, I never felt that it was an office. It was more like, it had a very positive vibe, a very homely and welcoming atmosphere. And there was an abstract painting of, again, I think the Bhagavad Gita. That's what I interpreted after seeing it. And I think you have been away from Kerala for many years and away from India, also, like being an NRI.
Yes.
So, but I feel that you strongly believe in your roots and the tradition that you carry. So, the office, it was completely your design, or it was your thought, your idea. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me start. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's truly a pleasure to come here, sit down with you, and speak about the stories, what we've really gone through. Essentially, the business was started by my late father in 1977, and it was a very fledgling company at that time.
It was in UAE.
We started off in Bombay at that
Bombay.
time as a small shipping agency way back in 79.
Okay.
As far as I was concerned, I was born in Kerala in a place, in a village called Vizhinjam, which is close to Cochin.
Okay.
I did my schooling in Kollam.
Okay.
And the best part of my life has been in Kollam, right till the age of 16 and 17 I was there. And then I moved to Bombay, did my graduation.
Okay.
And I went to Bombay in the year 1977, and ever since the time we established the business, I was involved, right from the start.
What age was it, sir?
And that is, I think I was at the age of 17 I was involved. That is right
Very
at the
young.
time when we started off. When we started off a small fledgling company, you have to be working at all levels, including going to the bank and depositing the checks making coffee and serving it to the others. These are the way we started our career.
More like a training.
Like a training, and this is how we started our career. Unfortunately, my father had a very untimely death at the very young age of 57, and that was in the year 1989. So I was already based in Bombay, and I think in hindsight, the kind of experience that I gained over that period of time helped me to come back and take charge of the business and start looking at the opportunities of growing it to a much higher plane. So come 89, myself, my wife, we moved to Dubai, and here again we had a very small presence at that time. We had reasonable operations, but not really. So as a newcomer, as someone who's succeeding and taking over a legacy, succession of business doesn't happen. I think, in my opinion, you take over legacies, and legacies are what is worked hard, and then you build over it. And legacy is what is always passed over to the next generations as well. So when I came in here in 1989, we had a small office in Karama, and from there we started developing. There was hardly any kind of a support that we would get from the banks or any of these institutions.
I think Dubai was still young.
They're very young, and for us it was a very, very challenging time. But I think life is so full of challenges, and I think the more you meet with challenges and start dealing with it, you start growing and growing better.
Yes.
Now you asked me a question, I'll come to more of those things as we go along, but you asked me a very pertinent question when you walked into the office, that you saw a lot of very traditional kind of a setup. Essentially, I think I give a lot of credit to my wife, Geeta. She has been the one who was responsible in sort of setting it up. But my eyes, my lens, I always wanted an office which should not look like an office or a place of work. the ambience has to be so beautiful that anyone who comes in, because most people who work are spending most of their time in the office.
Yeah.
And when they are in the office, it has to be one, very, very welcoming.
Yes.
It has to be very warm. It has to be comfortable. It has to be safe. It has to be something which is beyond the realm of normal office. And that's the whole reason why we set it up in a manner that it was very kind of a traditional, very rustic, and gave the strong sense of our belonging where we come from,
Yes.
largely India. And again, if you break that down, we largely come. I mean, my roots are from Kerala. My father was born in Vizhinjam. We all have the roots coming out of Kerala. So we traditionally, we try and associate ourselves as much as possible.
It's
Celebrate.
very few people who actually portray that,
That's right.
in their work as well, in their
Yes.
workplace as well. So, coming to the next question, how difficult was it to take over the legacy? And you had to, it's always a burden, when you have a legacy to take over, then you have to be, always cautious, how well you're taking it forward,
right.
and then how well you're maintaining the name that
Yes.
was there. So,
It's a very interesting question. It makes me go back, makes me sort of rewind and see what happened in those days. You're very, very correct that especially a business which is fledgling, and when you have to start taking that over, the first and the foremost thing is you don't generally have people who you can rely on all the time. And I think you start building bridges, you start building relationships. And I think with the relationships that you build, you slowly start building a team. And there has to be a very clear vision what you want to do. It may be tough, it may have its own challenges, but I think as an entrepreneur, as an individual, I think we need to set clear-cut goals.
Yes.
And importantly, you can set your own goal, but I think at the same time, to me, regular introspection is even more important. You set your goal, but if you don't see whether you've achieved or done what you wanted to do, and you think you've achieved, then you may not achieve anything that you want to. You've got to continually keep looking at what have I done? Have I been able to reach the goal that I set myself up for the last 6 months, 1 month, 30 days, 1 hour? You got to keep reviewing it all the time, and then start altering your through how you want to go. You want to change the way you want to attempt. So this is what something you go through this, and it's not an easy journey, but I think you got to enjoy the journey.
Exactly.
The legacy is something we carry from generation to generation. My grandfather, my father, me, my son, my grandson. It's a legacy that you keep
yes.
creating and passing on to the next set of generations. It's not been an easy journey, but God has been very, very kind for whatever we've been able to achieve and succeed over the many years. I owe it all to God Almighty, the blessings of my parents, and the hard work that we have put in. And a lot of kudos goes to my team as well.
So I know when you say that same line, I would say when you come into that middle of that legacy, is that you have to carry something that is given over by your father and then build something for the future generation as well, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a double task.
It's my father was an employee in the Middle East, actually. If you go back to the history, I think he was one of the early movers to Kuwait way back in the mid-60s, actually. And he was an employee of a shipping company. He was working as a stenographer in a company in Kuwait. And that's how he started his career. Before that, he was also working in Cochin for a few years. But all his journey has been more as an employee, actually. So it was in 1977 that we set up the enterprise. So for him also, it was a great new experience. Actually, not having been an employer, and not having started a business. It was a great learning for him as well. Mistakes were made. Many times you fall, you try to wake up, you start walking. That's the way it gets built. For me, I had the, let's say, I would say that the blessing of seeing it all from 1977. I was part of the story. I was part of the growth. And I was always involved right from the start of the venture. So I had the exposure, I had the experience, and I could see what was going on. So that's the reason why when he passed away in 1989, the switchover was also relatively comfortable,
Yeah.
relatively easier. So I knew what was happening.
It's not that you were very much new into that.
That's it. Not that I was thrown into the deep side
Yes,
of the
yes, yes.
sea. So I had known every step of what we've done, what we've grown, etc. So it becomes a lot more easier to take on from there and grow the business. I think it's extremely important to me, as far as I'm concerned. Integrity is so important in the very thing that we do.
Yes, definitely.
It's not something that we just write on the wall and leave it. I think everything that we've done in our organization, now we are reaching 50 years. We started off in 1977.
Oh.
Today, as we speak, in 2026, we have 49 years as an organization. End of this year, early next year, we get into the 50th year. So it's been a phenomenal journey over the last 50 years. And I have been sort of chairing the organization for the last almost close to 38, 39 years. So I've seen a lot of ups, lots of down, lots of learning because we've got into the space at a time when in India, when we started, we had to apply for a phone and then wait for 5 years to get a phone to operate. Okay. And in the meantime, you end up using somebody else's phone, and that's how you start doing your business. Understood. And we saw an era when just after that, telex machines were the ones only mode of communication overseas. And from there came the facsimile machines to whatever we see today, to these smartphones. So it's been a great
You've seen all those faces,
all of those faces in our life.
So what do you think from the fax and telex era to the AI era? I mean, how do you feel that change has taken over your kind of industry?
See, most importantly, you can't be stuck to your ways, actually. I think it's very necessary that you have to learn to accept and adapt. And you got to continue to upskill your knowledge. And I think if you stop doing that, you have a problem. I mean, today's Gen Z is deeply into the AI. And AI can do so many things what we would not even have imagined 10 years back what it is going to do for you. But if at my age, if I say that I'm not interested in understanding it and what it can do for you, then I'm going to be the loser.
Left behind,
I need to upgrade myself. I need to keep myself updated, at least what is happening in that space. And this is exactly what goes on a daily basis. So we see what is happening around us, what is it that we need to adapt, what is it that we need to change. So it's been a great journey, one, to grow the enterprise in the last 50 years. And in this last 50 years, our generation, actually, what we've seen is something which has been most exciting. Everything, whether it's in business, whether it's music, whether it is anything that you talk about, the change, the rapid changes that have happened. And adapting it is the most important thing. And which is what we embraced all along our journey. Customer expectations to embracing the change and adapting everything that we had to do. That's been the greatest learning that I had. And I don't think this is going to change even in the days to come, because the rapidity with change, things are going to change. Entrepreneurs, youngsters who are starting up businesses have to be agile to the changes that is happening around. If you're going to get stuck in somewhere, then you're going to be the one who's going to lose the race. Importantly, adaptability is the most important thing that you do.
So since you use the word adaptability, you said you joined the company when you were 17 years old. So actually you were adapting to the company, or you were okay with, I mean, you were always planning to pursue what your father was doing, or did you have any kind of interest and something that you wanted to do always?
You see, when I was in school, I was a very good science student. And I was myself surprised. I scored very well in biology, actually. So left to me, maybe I would have been a doctor as well. But, again, fate takes its own turn. And my father was still based here even when we started the business. And that is the reason why I sort of adapted myself. And I'll also tell you that I had the chance of going to a college in Bombay, actually. I did my graduation in Bombay. Bombay is one city, I think, that gives you the luxury, or it teaches you a lot of tenacity. Like, we had our college in the morning at 7 till 10. and the 10 o'clock the college gets over. By 10:30 you're back in the office working till about 10. This kind of a morning college and the capability or ability for you to go back straight into work, I don't think there's any other city in India that would offer that actually.
Very true.
And again, the other thing is, along with that, the colleagues, the friends, people who grow with you at that time. Everybody comes in the morning to the college, comes up with 10 rupees and is thinking, how do I make the 10 rupees to 90 rupees? This is the thought process that goes through. And you are interacting with such friends.
Yes.
For me, when I moved out of Kerala and came to Bombay at the age of 16, I could not even speak a sentence of English. Coming back from background in Kerala, you grammatically your English may be good, but you could just not articulate a single line in English. Leave away the language of Hindi, you could never even speak to anyone. But that was the journey, I mean, then from there, you make some good friends, you learn, you go through all of that. And it's been a phenomenal journey over the last many, many years, actually, yes.
That kind of experience started at the age of 16 itself,
Yeah.
right? So that has actually contributed to your whole journey, and
Yeah.
as a leader, as a businessman, as a human being, I think that is the age which shaped the whole
Yes.
of Mr. Ramesh Ramakrishnan.
Absolutely.
So another thing I wanted to ask you was, you said you were going to college in Bombay while you were working as well. But I think I read somewhere that you have been to Harvard as well.
Yes.
So at what age was that, sir?
That is again, I told you about how one needs to adapt.
Yes.
How you need to keep yourself
Yeah.
appraised of what's
Yes,
happening. So I went to Harvard and I did a course called the OPM.
Okay.
OPM course is actually where you go and spend, I think, 25 or 21 days in a year.
Okay.
And this is done over a period of 3 years.
Okay.
So when I went to do this, that was in the year 2016, which is exactly 10 years back. So today I'm 65. I went and did my Harvard course at the age of 55.
Okay.
And I completed that by the time I became 58.
Okay.
But not that I wanted to go to Harvard, it's just that where I went to and studied in Bombay was not a great college. It was a great place to go there and learn, not to the levels of somebody doing a management, etc. But I wanted to go and keep myself relevant. And that was the whole objective. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, those 3 years that I went in. From there, I made a lot of great friends. It made me think very differently. It gave me a lot of in-depth insight into the way how you need to transact business, how you need to relate to people, how you need to do people. It perfected me a lot better.
Okay. So that you said relevant. So the relevancy was more towards a personal perspective or the business perspective?
Well, I think it gave you everything. It gave you a lot of insight into the way how businesses are done. That is the prime objective when you go there and learn out of the experiences of the others. But at the same time, it also gave you a phenomenal insight into your own personal ways of doing things, actually. So it gave you an all-round insight into the way how you need to adapt yourself, how you need to change, how you need to start looking at things. Great learning, in fact. And I've got some of the best of the friends out of that journey.
Definitely, that's like at the age of 55, you went to Harvard to like something like like you said, adapting to a new thing. So another thing I wanted to ask was, what is the quality that you would say that has helped you grow or helped you become what you are today, or the leadership skills or whatever?
Yeah, I think focus. What you set out to do, I think you need to have that complete focus and your dedication to what you want to achieve. And I think this is paramount. It's not a journey that you get into a bus and get off, actually. So whatever you set out into, that tenacity, that passion, that fire in the belly that you need to do, I think that's the whole thing that needs to drive every individual to succeed.
Yes.
And I think without which nobody gets anywhere. And in a nutshell, if you want to say, nobody gives you free lunch. It is your hard work and your tenacity and your capability. You need to understand what's possible and start working towards it. It's not an easy journey, but I think that's the way you make up your own life actually.
So you would say it has always been the focus that you have in the
Yes,
business or
absolutely.
whatever work that you
Yes,
do that
yes.
has that you
You know,
feel
the
that
goal setting,
goal
the
setting,
goal
yeah.
setting, and reviewing the goal, introspecting the goal. Have I reached it? Motivating your team, because your team has to believe
Yeah.
what your vision is.
Okay.
I mean, you can say anything, but if your team doesn't buy what you are trying to tell them, and you have to first of all believe that, and that has to be very lucidly, very clearly shared to your team, and they need to understand and accept it. Then they run along with you in the journey.
Yes,
And
yes.
this is the most important thing. Because this is only possible if you have the focus, if you have the passion, and if you have the dedication and the fire in the belly to reach your goal. So you can have goals set in your vision. You can set it up, in your mind where you want to be. But that'll just be a pure dream. But you need to act on it. The execution is the most important part of it.
True, true,
I mean, that's only possible. And I mean, I think it's very simple. If we all know in today's times that one individual cannot do anything.
Yeah.
It is the team.
Team, yeah. It's
And I
always
think
team.
how well you build your team is going to make all the
Exactly.
difference.
Exactly.
So that's what has been the journey. Nurturing people, being with them, sitting with them, understanding their problems, all of those things.
So when you build your team, or initially when you started, did you choose an experienced hand, or you were always supporting freshers?
You know, you see, again, I can tell you that it's a journey where in the early 70s, early 80s, or even before that, perhaps the individuals who came in and joined you also had a deep sense of loyalty. So you got to identify, choose the right person, and they sincerely put in their best efforts for you, and they really dedicate themselves for the organization. So your job is to spot the right person, give them what you understand and what you want them to do, and keep monitoring them and supporting them. Over a period of time, what happens is, see, you try and get people from different places, different centers, different languages. But I think how you nurture them, how you kind of guide them, how you sort of interact with them, and how you share your dream with them and your vision. I think slowly, gently, over a period of time, you start formulating a team. And it is not necessary that in this journey you will find the team being successful. You might find out of the 10 or 20 or 30 people, few of them will fall by the wayside, some of them you trusted, probably misplace your trust. But all this is a journey. It should not be hampering your progress. You got to learn to quickly adapt yourself and change and start looking at alternatives. So team building is extremely important, extremely important.
So, sir, when you see today's generation, we see that the very word that you mentioned, focus, that is very much lacking in them. We see that they work in a company for 1 year, they jump to another one. So, do you think that that could restrict the kind of growth or the ambitions that they want to reach?
See, there are two things to this. One is today's generation actually are massive entrepreneurial in nature. They don't fear about the future.
Yeah.
They're candid. They're very clear, and they know what they want to. The prospect or the possibility today, what happens is a youngster starts a business. He is operating something with a clear intention of creating value and then exiting or rather bring some investor into his business in a span of 3 to 5 years time and stay on for some time and then move out.
Yeah.
Or at the working side, you find people work for an organization and they also choose to move quickly, 1 year, 2 years,
Yes,
3 years
yes,
time. I don't think I will be in a position to comment to say what is right, because at the end of the day, the work satisfaction is most important. I think these exits happen not because he's getting 100 dirhams or 100 rupees extra
Yeah.
from somebody else. It's just that he may not be satisfied. He may not be fitting into that space where he wants
I think
to.
they look for comfort as well.
Absolutely. And I think that is something, if you don't provide, they will naturally move.
Yes.
And I think movement is not by itself a bad thing, actually. It is the organization that should work to try and retain them as much as possible. So I think whether it's Gen Z or whoever it is, they will move. When you can't restrict or stop anyone from moving, actually. But it's what you offer them. If you are willing to create a fabric and a culture within your organization, they will stay back.
Stay back.
I do believe that it's not a bad idea if they move in 1 or 2 years. But yes, I can say that jumping from one job and jumping into a totally different space may not help you. That continuity, if you are in the space of entertainment, you try and jump because you're not comfortable here to another space of entertainment, you might do well. But if you suddenly jump from entertainment to hospitality or something else, you are going to burn yourself sometime or the other.
Exactly.
This is the problem that I see in the current generation.
So another thing I wanted to ask you was, I think the major import that comes into UAE happens through your vessels.
Yes.
So how has UAE supported you in that kind of a growth?
See, we have been in the UAE for 45 years of business. But I must say that the UAE government, especially the government of Dubai, their vision and their understanding of trade and commerce is second to none. And I think they understand your for example, if I am, let's say, Dubai Port World's customer, I think their biggest success is they want to understand what I want.
Yes.
And they try and work very, very closely with you. And I must say that though my birthplace is in India, the Karma Bhumi is here. And I think everything that I have succeeded, achieved, and done has been at the behest of the greatest of the support or the vision that the ruling family has had. Undoubtedly, I have to give them the credit because they have created an ecosystem, a kind of space where you dream you still can achieve.
Exactly.
You know, there's no, even now as you've been hearing, they've started a verb, to buy it, which obviously means you dream and you're able to achieve your dreams, you know. And this has been a journey, not now, the last so many years. They have been allowing that to happen. They don't come and disrupt your business. You do your business sincerely, and they give you all the support that you have to make it into a venture which is of repute. So I give a lot of credit. I owe a lot to the government of Dubai, government of UAE for standing with entrepreneurs like us.
Yes, definitely,
and
sir.
supporting us in this journey.
They've always accepted and tolerated whatever we try to do and build here.
Absolutely, 100%.
So another thing was that now we see the current scenario. What do you think would be a easiest, or maybe when things open up, things would change. I mean, the shipping industry would change. But another alternative for a fastest and easier logistic.
You know, today as we speak, Jebel Ali port and the Kizad in Abu Dhabi, predominantly Jebel Ali is the largest port and terminal and logistic operation in this region. There are others like the Korfakans, the Fujairas and all of that, you know. But they're all comparatively, relatively, extremely small. So today the biggest challenge is the closure of Jebel Ali. With the war that has happened in the last 100 plus days, 110 days. And of course now what is being talked about in terms of the peace and in terms of the agreements that they're going to draw. But even if they do all of that, the time that it is going to take for businesses to be restored to normalcy is going to, in my opinion, will take at least another 3 to 6 months, not earlier than the end of 2026, if not first quarter of 2027. But I think the bigger challenge is that here, I'm sure the government of Dubai is already thinking that we have to have alternative exits, and we cannot be getting into such a situation as we have now got into in terms of the Hormuz. So I believe I was recently with the chairman of the Port Customs and Free Zones Corporation. So they have, the government has got ambitious plans of putting some huge amounts of investment. And their keenness is to see and start setting up a similar infrastructure on the eastern coast of the country, so that they are not handicapped by these sort of events that is happening. As far as the energy is concerned, Abu Dhabi takes the bigger play, and they are also putting in a lot of pipelines, etc., again to come out of the eastern coast of the country, so that if at all there are any hardships coming in later, the businesses should not get affected. But even at this stage, let me tell you, with what has been happening with all the challenges that have been happening here, we have not seen any shortage of food, anything that we wanted in terms of consumables, anything that we wanted. They have made sure safety was not compromised and availability has also not been compromised. Yeah, you do find that certain things, the prices have gone up a bit, but by and large, the government has done a great job to ensure availability is there not only for the locals but also for every expatriate who's live in this country or who's continuing to live in this country. So they have plans to find alternative routes, but then these alternative routes don't happen overnight. It takes time, but I'm very certain that they will have their own clear set of plans coming up in the next 12 to 18 months time for sure.
Yeah, any country will take maybe 3 or 4 years to come back to a normalcy, but being Dubai, it's a different story.
Yes.
Altogether. So just with the Etihad rail, being open, do you think that kind of a system to transport goods would help in these kind of scenarios if it is implemented across countries?
It has been set up with an ambition to help the transportation of goods and passengers actually. Other than the geopolitical challenges that you may find off and on here and there, it should, if all that is eased out, it could be a very good replacement, especially for transport within the GCC regions. How soon it will happen? Okay, they're just starting up something now for the passengers, but I think we do see a lot of containers also being transported up and down within the Emirates here and there. But truly speaking, it has to go beyond the Emirates and start going into the neighboring countries as well. But that will happen. It has to happen. The question is when it will happen, because I think we have to give them time to come out of this current geopolitical issues. And once that is done, I think the policies will be very clearly laid out, by which time all this becomes an easy passage. Yes. I am very optimistic. It's just a question of time before it starts operating.